Alright, let's go. Hello everyone. For those who don't know, my name is Zan, and today is day 5 of my daily hunt logs. And today I wanted to chat a little bit about Artian weapons and why I personally think they shouldn't be an issue in Ascendance, but how they very much can still be at the same time. So, with Ascendance comes the pretty much rebalancing of all weapons in a sense that we have to really start from the beginning of, our power. I'm really curious to see how they're going to handle weapon skills and armor skills and the defense and attack and all the like. Um, because, well, we are already so powerful. So I'm curious to how they're going to handle it and how we as hunters are going to either become more powerful or stay just as strong. Personally, I think we are already strong enough as it is. We have more skills now than ever before, and getting more stronger than how we are now sounds ridiculous, even though it's very much going to be the thing. Like, it's the thing that happens every time without fail, that we just become stronger than the basic version. We have so many skills that I really don't know how they're going to handle the expansion. However, for now, let's talk about Artian weapons. The one of the bigger issues of what could happen. Right now, Artian weapons are easily the strongest weapons we have available in our arsenal, because they provide a good amount of weapon skill flexibility and as well as armor skills. On top of that, um, they just have more stats compared to our monster weapon variants. And so, personally, I've talked about this a bit in the a different video, the really long version that I've uploaded before, and I very much think that there should have also been a way to ascend monster weapons, just like how our armor pieces got. Unfortunately, that did not happen, and Artian weapons just completely became the strongest thing we have. And it sucks because to kind of keep up with the strongest monsters, you kinda need them. Kind of. Not necessarily. That's not to say you can't hunt the strongest monsters without the strongest weapons. It's just a lot more tedious due to how much less flexible a monster weapon is compared to it. Not only are Arty weapons have more stats, they have more deco slots for more flexibility, and they include armor skills. This is incredibly powerful in every shape, way, and form. The only thing they don't have is certain very specific weapon skills, such as the laggy skill, the Lagacri's, I don't really know what it's called, but it's one of the thunder skills, and as well as Sergio's, otherwise known as Steve, his blade skill. Those are one of the few that are left out of the possibilities of receiving. I believe it's because they're weapon skills, not armor skills. But pretty much, those weapons, although they do have unique skills, they lack in every other way that an Artian weapon just obviously exceeds in. So, for the Ascendance expansion, I'm hoping that we'll have like a new baseline of power, and hopefully um, um, let me see, how do I want to say it? Hopefully, there's a better balance between monster weapons and Artian weapons. In theory, they can go back up to a baseline to where they're kind of even to where the base Artian weapons were at. And from there, you can have the ascended option for both weapons, where I believe both weapons should have an equal amount of power, meaning stats, attack and affinity and sharpness, roughly equal. They could still vary. Although monster weapons will have much more varying sharpness compared to Artian weapons. And deco slots. I think they should have equal deco slots before and after ascending. Well, oh dang it, I saw that coming. I tried to dodge. Well, they should be how they are, kind of like now, where they'll be equal in stats, and they have their deco slots the way they are. Artian weapons will have more deco slots in the base form, while monster weapons will have more unique skills. And so they both already have what they do better, and it should kind of stay that way. And then once you do ascend them, they should have equal in stat power, so attack, affinity, and sharpness, and they should be equal in deco slots. And then what should set them apart is monster weapons should have unique monster skills. That sets them apart from Artian weapons that should have unique monster armor skills. So just like how the Artian weapons are now, I believe that monster weapons can be ascended in a way that makes them equal to the Artian weapons, but different via skills in which they have. So, same stats, or at least very similar stats, same amount of deco slots, but then unique skills that are given to them through the Ascendance. So yeah, I believe that in by itself grants them a lot of uniqueness, and should be the way that they are handled for the update, the expansion. If they are not handled this way, we are going to have a repeat of what we have now, and it's just not great. So if the dev team keeps that in mind when making or not making, when balancing the weapons and Artians, it should be fine if they consider that. That's the hope. It should be how it is. It should have been like that from the beginning, because not a lot of people like the Artian weapons, although I do use them myself, but it's kind of crazy not to use them. I wouldn't be able to hunt Arkveld nearly as comfortable as I am now if I weren't using the Artian weapons. So, like right now, I casually hunt him around 20-22 minutes without really trying. My fastest time at hunting him is around sub 17, so just under 17 minutes. I'm pretty happy with that time. I can probably do better with more practice, but regardless, I do want monster weapons to be able to equal Artian weapons in that power, but still be unique to them in some way. So, with that in mind, in the expansion, with new monsters being added, hopefully, more armor sets have unique skills, and more monster weapons have more powerful unique skills, because really the only monsters with unique skills are the title update monsters. Pretty much, yeah. I'm trying to think if there's like any exceptions, but it's really just them. Though Shia is even a title update monster, which is kind of crazy. I've kind of forgot about that because his high rank version wasn't available right away, which is, you know, unfortunate. Most likely due to time crunches, because who in their right mind would want to release a game that was so poorly optimized? So there is some logic to it, but I'm not going to talk about the same old optimization issues. I've already mentioned that they have a lot of time this time around, all the way till next year, and hopefully they put more emphasis on optimization for the expansion, so we don't have a repeat of the basic release. So yeah, those are my thoughts on all of that. What else? Yeah, a big hope is that weapon armor and monster. What weapon? What am I saying? I just completely confused my words there. Monster weapons and monster armor parts have more unique skills to them that can make them more relevant in the end game. Master rank or high rank. They should just have more unique skills that make them stand out more throughout the game. Right now I'm very happy with the way certain armor skills can be, well, not armor skills, but armor sets can be ascended to make them more what's the word, viable? That's the word, yeah. If only we just kind of have to hope that the same thing can happen in master rank, so we don't have this weird issue of Artians being too powerful. Right now, technically Artians aren't too powerful. They kind of are, but they're too powerful in the sense that monster weapons are useless. They wouldn't be too powerful if they were just simply equal. You know? Not only that, but the weapon grind for Artian weapons is ridiculously high. I think the joy of collecting and having a grind, it comes from receiving a reward. But Artian gambling is not a reward. It's more like a relief of removing a chore. Because no one likes the gambling that comes from the Artian system. It's way too much. It should definitely be changed to something along the lines of Sci-Fi Jiva, where there was a sort of pity system. That is definitely needed for the Artian system. Way too much RNG, and no one likes it. The grind isn't to always have something there to do. The grind is so to have something to get and at some point accomplish. But this RNG gambling is not the way to do it. You want to collect all the monsters for their weapons and armors, and once you do that, that's sort of it, and then you just hunt monsters for fun. This Artian system BS really isn't what anyone wants to do. It's not really that fun. It's not really like, it doesn't feel good even after you get it. Maybe if you were lucky and you got it like super early, but some people spent hundreds if not thousands of parts to only end up not getting it. That's why I think it very much needs the pity system back from Worlds Iceborne. So on. I believe I speak for a lot of people when I say that they really didn't like the old Artian system. the new Artian system, I mean. So, hopefully, they just do a bit better this time around. That's the hope, anyways. Anything else? Not really sure. Really hard to say. I am actually extremely curious as to what the new flagship for the expansion is going to be. Because flagship monsters are always usually very unique in their own way. I believe it's going to be another new monster, not a comeback of an old monster. By the off chance it is an old monster, which I highly doubt, it'll likely be some kind of variant. It's not just going to be copy and paste of an old monster. They're definitely going to make it different in some way. So if it's like Velkhana, it'll be like, just for not to bother thinking, it'll be like Ruinous Velkhana, kind of like how they did for Ruinous Nergigante. But that's not to say that's what they'll do with it, but just the idea. But yeah, I still think it is more likely that it'll be a new monster. It usually is, and I want to say they're pretty good at adding new monsters to the mix. Aside from that, not super sure what it's going to be. We have vague ideas based on the logo of the new expansion. Some people have tried making kind of vague guesses based on it. Some people might think it's some type of magnetism monster, since of the red and blue, it's usually colors that indicate north and south polarities for magnets. It's a possibility, but I doubt it. But it's not a bad guess. It could just mean very different things. It could mean a more extreme nature to the weather system, hopefully. I do want a more extreme weather system to where it can actually pose a problem and a danger to hunters as you fight and hunt monsters. Hopefully there's more of I want to say inconvenience to the monsters. Like there should be things like tremor resistance and wind, so you have more of a reason to equip things like windproof and tremor resistance. Those light skills are pretty much not used at all to prepare for monsters, and I think it's, although a small inconvenience, I think it adds character to a monster. Because really, it's a small preparation, but removing preparation from a game like this has clearly made a lot of people feel different about this game. The sharpness is a bit different, but it's still there. I'm glad they didn't get rid of it. They have gotten rid of sharpness. I missed the thing. That's funny. They have gotten rid of the sharpness, whatchamacallit, scales, or the equipment required to sharpen your weapon from old gen to new gen. And people already didn't like that. People don't like the restock, which even though I've only played new gen and have had restocking since the beginning, I actually don't like it either, and I don't find much need of it. I have always really played the games without restocking. The only times in World Iceborne I have only restocked my equipment once, and that was up against Black Veil Valhazak. And on top of that, the reason why I restocked obviously was because I used a lot of equipment, but it was because I was using a weapon I wasn't used to. In World Iceborne, I was very much a greatsword main, and I had decided to use a hunting horn, not for the first time, but it was clearly a weapon I didn't like have um, a knack for. Um, Nothing I'm used to, something I definitely needed more practice in, and um, oh my goodness, and it's clearly my lack of practice of said weapon is the reason why I actually almost timed out in that quest. It was like somewhere between 45 minutes and 49 minutes. I was in the last 5 minutes of said quest before killing him with the hunting horn. I remember the weapon I was using was Bazokis' hunting horn because I had recently upgraded it and wanted to just play around with it. Definitely not a good idea to try out a vaguely new weapon against a variant of an Elder Dragon. But I did manage to pull through it, and I only restocked once. Even restocking once is a lot of equipment, but I was just trying to make the point that I've only restocked once, and I just don't think it's necessary, even for my first Monster Hunter being the hardest, because I had to learn everything from scratch. Um, Restocking just never felt necessary, only in such an extreme scenario such as that. Um, and even in this game, I guess you can have a reason to restock, similar to that if you're using a weapon you've never used, you're hunting an exceptionally powerful monster like Arkveld, or you're doing like Proof of a Hero, and something like that, where you'd have a reason. But even then, if you're trying a new weapon, don't do what I did and hunt an easier monster. I was sort of new and kind of an idiot for doing that. Either way, that's just me though. I tend to do things much harder than they need to be. Um, that's part of the reason why I have most of my HUD off and the like. I could even turn all of it off. I'll probably do that starting next week. Just turn off all the HUD and just show how unnecessary it is. Um, and I'll start talking about maybe title updates and the like next week of each one. Title update 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll like think about them and have a vague idea of how I want to talk about them and approach them next week. For now, that's my mostly rant about Artian weapons and a small bit about having inconveniences and reasons to prepare. Just to me, really are important. Even though I've had so many, what's it called, things given to me in new gen that I didn't know were much more difficult in old gen. I can, I could even go back to the old sharpening system, like that. Although it's something you should prepare, I can go either way on that one. I think one that would be interesting to go back into is the paintball system, because I actually like tracking, and I think it should come back. However, I have a unique idea that could be good for this particular system with the Sacred. Instead of a paintball, it could be some type of luring pod. So just like the luring pods we have now is used with ingredients that have a lot of scent, like dung pods. What if a similar thing, instead of luring pods, honestly, luring pods by themselves are already too powerful, but we have them. But what if a luring pod and paintball system were kind of the same thing, where you throw a paintball at a monster that has a unique scent, and the Sacred follows that scent. But if you don't do that, you don't know where the monster is or where it's going, unless you've played this game enough times to actually know where it goes in certain situations. I think that's very interesting. And it's like a best of both worlds. You can still have the Sacred with you and have it in tandem with a tracking system. Like if you take the time to paintball it before it leaves an area, you can track it. Um, yeah, that's really my only good idea for having a system that works both with tracking and the sacred. Otherwise, um, the basic smell the ground for footprints is just fine. I think a lot of people liked it in the World Iceborne. The only thing I didn't like about tracking was the specific quests where you had to search for elder dragons, and all you could do was just track those. Like, oh, you need to find these elder dragons. Track the beats. You can't find them until you've tracked enough of each elder dragon in every unique locale. That was too tedious. Even though you could have just gone on hunts to do it, you still had to take a lot of time tracking them. Um, remove those quests. Those quests don't need to be added and still have a tracking system. You don't need tracking quests, but a tracking system is very much liked. So, with all that said and done, this is going to be the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching if you got to the end. Feel free to leave a like. I am going to still drop videos on the weekend. Today's Friday for me. I'll still do a video for Saturday and Sunday. I'll probably focus more on speedrunning Arkveld himself. If you do watch this, maybe let me know if you'd like to see me do Proof of a Hero instead for the weekends. I might not be able to beat them all solo yet, but I can, still record myself trying and practicing it throughout the year until, of course, the expansion comes out. I will likely be very quick in how much progress I make in soloing Proof of a Hero, so I'm not too worried. Um, but yeah, starting next week on Monday, I wanna figure out a better script and idea of how I talk about this title updates. So until then, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.